I've got my warm tea and my cold tea.
We're ready to go.
And mine is actually a blend of mint and chamomile. That's why it's a little darker. Yours is lighter,
Andrew's
which
tea,
is just
by
chamomile.
The way, if you haven't tried Andrew Lessman tea, you have to. You must try it. I think it's the most delicious tea I've ever had. I love your tea, and was never a big tea drinker, and now I'm sort of crossed over into the tea world just because these teas are so lovely and smooth.
Like them, and because they don't get bitter no matter how long you steep them, they become the least expensive teas in the world because you could use a single tea bag to literally make a quart of tea because they're so high quality that they don't get bitter. But we'll talk about some green tea, I think, tomorrow a little bit.
Excellent. So. Okay, well, now we're going to talk about, we have all-stars in store over the course of the next couple of hours, one of which is Andrew's CoEnzyme Q10. The CoQ10 is one of our absolute best sellers, top sellers, top reorder products, and we are putting it at a special price for you this visit with the free shipping and handling. This is the world's finest CoEnzyme Q10. Let me show you what the choices are real quickly here, because you can see you can get a try-me size and a 30 cap.
But that's actually, I'm not sure if that's the appropriate chart for the regular pricing. That's the chart that compares it to the pricing of our product from 2007 to 2011.
Look at that. Oh, very good. So we'll find the actual today's pricing. Here we go. This must be it. So there it is.
Yes.
But it is interesting how over the years, your products continue to add and improve and make them more potent, but the prices keep coming down.
If you look back to 32 years ago when I introduced CoQ10, no one else was doing it back then, but 32 years ago, you would be spending probably $350 more on that large bottle. You'd be spending somewhere in the neighborhood of $150 more on the second size. So over the years, we have simply reduced the price of CoQ10, and that is something that I'm very proud of because CoQ10 was historically, for a 30 milligram capsule, prohibitively expensive. You're now looking at a 200 milligram capsule. And that so 7 times more per capsule. And you're talking about something that used to be $1 or $2 a capsule, now it's 50 cents a capsule.
It's amazing.
So it really has become incredibly affordable for something that was the most expensive nutritional supplement out there. So it's a tremendous amount of progress in the last 30 years.
No doubt. And the value, again, so treat yourself now if you'd like to. You could read the reviews on hsn.com. There are literally, I'm sure there's a review card around here for me somewhere, but there are, gosh, a lot of reviews on hsn.com. What does that say? 1,144 perfect 5-star reviews on this.
And CoEnzyme Q10 is, without question, the most central and the most important molecule for energy production. A lot of folks talk about CoQ10 in terms of being an antioxidant. Yes, it is. It's one of those fascinating gifts of Mother Nature that in terms of its role in the body, CoEnzyme Q10 is the most central and essential molecule for energy production. But at the same time, it's one of the most central and important molecules for cellular protection in terms of antioxidant protection, which kind of makes sense because when we produce energy in our cells, that creates oxidative fallout. It creates fallout. So there's consequences, negative consequences to the production of energy, but we must produce energy. So how ideal is that God-given design that at the same time it delivers a nutrient to produce energy, it delivers us a nutrient that protects us from the fallout for the production of that energy. And when it comes to energy production, every cell in your body, it's not as though our heart or our brain produces all the energy for the rest of our body. Yes, they're critical organs that have a critical role, but every single one of the trillions of cells in our body, and this is something that most people really don't think of or conscious about, that every single one of the trillions of cells in our body is responsible for its own energy. Every single cell. So every single cell must have an adequate supply of CoQ10 in order to produce the energy that it requires. The neighboring cell could have lots of energy. It doesn't matter. It won't help the cell that has to produce its own energy. So it's fascinating that unlike, say, here, all the lights here are powered from a power plant. It's remote from HSN. It's not at HSN. So in the world, we rely on power to be transmitted to us. But in our bodies, every single cell is responsible for its own power. And every single cell is part of a tissue or an organ or a system that has responsibilities, but they all are responsible for their own energy production. And that's why when it comes to an energy product, stimulants are a short-term shortcut. When it comes to an energy product, nothing is more common sense and nothing is more effective than the most important molecule in every single one of the trillions of cells that are independently responsible for their own energy. And our sensation of having energy, or our sensation of having fatigue, is the collective consequence of sort of the mass consciousness of our experiencing all of those trillions of cells. So when I say this is the most common sense and affordable way to approach energy, it truly is. And the
So
healthiest.
if you want to try it for the first time or want to restock it, this is the perfect time to do it. The greatest thing about this product is that when you take it, you notice a difference when you take it. You feel a difference when you take it. You get a sense of vitality, get up and go. You know, it's interesting because Andrew's been talking about CoQ10 for decades. He was the first person to start educating America, seriously, on television. Nobody even knew what it was. So we kind of, you know, now everybody sort of hears about it because it's become a buzzword in the world of health.
32 years ago. I mean, most folks have really only heard about CoQ10 the last 5, 10, maybe 15 years. And the folks who were the original makers of natural CoQ10 have thought that I was responsible for most of the education in America, because it was not something that was getting as important as it was. The vitamin companies don't want to invest in educating people because there's no market in that. So for me, all I focus on is education and information. So even though initially there wasn't much interest in the CoQ10, it didn't take long for people to experience the product, and it became our most popular product. It became our most popular product not because of all the literature and science and clinical studies, which are wonderful, but because it simply works. And once you try it, you don't want to be without it. It is without a doubt, I often say this, if there's only one pill I'm going to take daily, and of course I take many capsules of my products, I take all of them. But if there's only one capsule I'm going to take daily, it's always a toss-up for me whether it be CoQ10 or whether it just make sure I get all the vitamin D I need, or Essential 1, my multivitamin. Ideally, you take your Essential 1, you take your vitamin D, your CoQ10, and your omega-3s. If you want to deal with just 4 capsules daily, 4 small, easy-to-swallow capsules, that is truly an incredible foundation of great nutritional supplementation. And when I'm here at HSN, all of those products are either at today's special or at extra special purchase pricing, which that's what we're doing with the CoQ10 today.
That's it. So go for it. And most of us, I take a couple capsules a day. It's up to you. But if you do have a bottle that's getting low, this is the perfect time to restock. Andrew only has a few visits a year. After this visit, his April visit, he's not back till July. So it's really, whenever you're here, I go check to see what I need to restock, and you probably do the same thing.
The today's special, we will do a today's special on CoQ10, but it will only be at the end of the year.
Right.
So the today's special CoQ10 is not in July, it will be at the end of the year.
Right.
So it's something that everybody needs to be aware of. And what I try to do is make sure that you get the most from your investing in your vitamins. And that's why we schedule like next weekend. I noticed in my blog post that people were asking what next weekend's today's special will be. It will be our Ultimate Eye. And what we try to do, as we're doing this evening with our omega-3, we make sure you get a year's supply. So you have a year's supply of product, and when we come back in a year, you get to buy it at literally a 2-for-1 savings. And that's what we do with our Today's Special, and that's the kind of thing we do with our extra special purchase. I'm only at HSN typically 4 times a year. So each of those visits is our opportunity to give you the best savings on everything.
That's it. We're glad you're here with us tonight. It's the kickoff to the April visit with Andrew. CoQ10 is an absolute must. Anybody who wants to live healthier, CoQ10 is an absolute must for your vitamin regimen.
And we'll talk about this more tomorrow. It's an important product. We'll talk about it in terms of if you're taking cholesterol-lowering drugs or drugs for osteoporosis or say certain antidepressants or drugs for high blood pressure. You want to be taking CoQ10 because those medications can affect your body's levels of CoQ10. And actually with statin drugs, cholesterol-lowering drugs, dramatically adversely affect them. So you need to be conscious of taking your CoQ10. But we'll talk about this more tomorrow, maybe read some reviews. But I also wanted to talk